So our proposition today is that all of us believe that brands that don't collaborate can't truly innovate. And I think it's certainly, for those of you that were hanging around the session before, it's certainly a challenge we've had. As a big traditional brand, we have our aims and objectives about how innovative and how brave we want to be, but I think that bravery point is definitely relative and changes through. But I think we've found our best work comes where, for us as a business, and the team, great marketers, but ultimately we've got the knowledge around energy as the client, so we bring the knowledge of the energy sector. And it's about letting our media agencies, letting our creative agencies do what they do best, and at the end of the day, why we're giving them money. And it's when we try and overstep and do their jobs and vice versa, things don't go as well. But just to maybe work along the line, it'd be great if you just introduce yourselves a little bit about where you're from. And I guess, to that point, do you agree that collaboration's the key to stuff? Which I guess might be an assumption, or is it best just to be able to get on with your work, not have to bother about other people? So,
sure.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. So my name is Maraz. I'm the Director of Commercial of Number 8. Number 8, to whoever doesn't know us here, is an on-device contextual intelligence platform. Now, what does that mean? That means that, well, we're a software that goes on mobile phones, Exhibit A, that is able to then use the mobile sensors to detect environment. For example, that we're currently indoors. Well, most of us are socializing in a work environment, and it's currently quite hot and cloudy outdoors. Now, once you get to know someone, their environment, you can start to get to know them as people as well, and start understanding their habits. So, for example, me, myself, I'm a pet owner. My dog is right there, to anyone who hasn't seen the husky yet. I am a shopper, clearly, and a walker. Yeah, I am. Well, it's quite evident. All of that information is processed on the device itself. That means that we keep everything really private. We don't have any impact by identity. We don't need identity or personal information. It's kind of marrying both relevancy and privacy. Why is, for example, collaboration really important for us personally? Well, we're a data provider. We're a data layer. That means that we work with a lot of other partners. We work with the brands to get to know what audiences and what circumstances are really meaningful for them. We work with creative agencies to design campaigns based on data in a really meaningful way. We work with dynamic ad supporters to how to use data to create different creatives. And each of us knows something really well. If we can all bring our expertise to the table, we're often able to do something truly great. And if we try to do everything, we're probably going to do it at 60%. None of us knows everything, right?
Brilliant, thank you. Naomi.
Hi, I'm Naomi. I am Dotter's MD. Dotter, in a nutshell, we're a shoppable media company. So we work with brands who either exclusively or predominantly rely on a network of third-party retailers to sell their products. We make their content shoppable, their brand.coms, their socials, their videos, whatever. For me, my background has always been in disruptive technologies, and what I found is that disruptive technologies very often don't live in one area of a business. So if you use Dotter as an example, we touch the e-commerce team, we touch the digital marketing team, we touch the brand teams, the creative agencies get involved, the media agencies get involved. You need a champion to own it, but without that collaboration across all of those different areas, you don't get the maximum value out of it. There's a benefit to each of them, and by collaborating, everybody wins. So that's where I see it.
Great. John?
Hi, yeah, I'm John. I'm the commercial director at Hoopla. We're specialists in creating immersive and interactive brand ad experiences across web AR, playables, and rich media. I mean, I think I echo a lot of what you say. Like, we've come from a creative background where it's all about, it's not just the creative, but it's linking in different points of access to make the experience more valuable to the user and to the brand. And a lot of the time that falls down when the pyramid doesn't connect and you lose points of contact where certain key aspects are missing.
That's great. And Sergey?
Yes. Hello. So Texel, my name is Sergey, and Texel, we do a virtual try-on. So imagine you are trying to buy a clothing online, and you're trying to figure out the size and how it's going to look on you. So you click a button, enter your details, and upload the photo, and it shows how the dress or the garment is going to look on you. So in terms of the collaboration and innovation, I think it's for the brands, it's really important to understand what they're trying to achieve, like what the end goal is, and then it automatically narrows down the numbers of partners there. So there is always a little bit of competition there, of course, but it's, I think, important to also compete when you collaborate or innovate, so that only sort of the best solutions reach the customers.
Which is great. And last but definitely not least.
Hi, yeah. So I'm Tom from Gifter. We're an influencer gifting company, so we look after everything from start to finish, for the influencer selection, all the logistics, distribution, fulfillment, personalization of those beautiful boxes that get put together, as well as all the tracking and reporting on ROI as well. And for us, collaboration is really, really important. Not just the collaboration with a brand and influencer, but also the collaboration of allowing brands to work with other brands as well that complement one another and allow those brands to come together and be more powerful together as well. So, yeah, very much agree with this as well.
Yeah, and to jump in, Naomi, just to come to you first, I think you talked about having a champion, because what was great about all the intros, and I did it myself, we all said the right thing, right? We all said collaboration's great, you work with loads of people, you innovate and get the best results. But actually, truthfully, it's quite nice when you just get to make a decision and do your own thing, isn't it? And sort of to heck with everyone else, because you can get bogged down in the swamp. You talked about the importance of having a champion. Can you just talk a little bit more around that? Because again, it's how have you found that you can still keep everybody happy, but you do need that sort of North Star, that person to really champion the cause and take a lead?
Yeah, excuse me. I think, we've been successful in a disruptive world where we're bringing something to brands that is completely new and, as I say, touches lots of different areas. By having a champion, by somebody who owns it, who sees the big picture, so somebody who understands how the e-commerce team, the brand team, the shopper marketing team, the media agency, and has that kind of holistic view of that overall benefit. That's the champion that I'm looking for. Somebody who can say, okay, you can benefit this way, you can benefit that way, but then also is willing to kind of take a step back and go, right, now collaborate, now go work and make it happen, use your individual expertises. But it's a balancing act, because to your point, sometimes you just want to get stuff done. And if a single person makes a decision, then boom, you can get it done. So.
And that's it. And Emma, I saw you nodding along there. In terms of, through lots of these panels, so we're talking about collaboration, but again, another theme that all of us will talk about and all of us know the importance of is speed and agility.
Yes.
And to that point, how do you make sure you still keep that pace in, but take people's opinions on board as well?
Well, think about it as a project manager, right? So in a project, you want to get anything done. You have someone managing that project, and they pull in all the experts. So I used to work in cybersecurity, and I used to actually launch multiple actual servers. Really, really difficult, very complex. This is the background I come from. And that means we have to pull in the product team, the engineering team in Taiwan, the engineering team in Boston, the QA team, and all of those need to collaborate. But there's one person who knows the timeline, who knows what needs to be done, can ask the right questions, and then pull those expertise together, and if needed, say yes or no. And if you have that, you can have the collaboration and still stay on the right path without getting too lost in too many opinions and too many ideas and too many conflicting ideas, and you wanted to go there and you ended up there.
A bit of the old too many cooks spoil the broth, right?
Exactly. So getting a few expertise, you have a saucer, you have a cutter, you have someone who can do everything, but you have a chef to pull it all together.
Yeah, exactly.
And Tom, maybe coming across to you in terms of, you've set up a business, set a firm, you need to, I suppose, keep people like me happy from the brand side and the client side. How do you manage the collaboration that a client wants when quite often us as clients can ask for stupid things, daft things, in probably half the time and for half the budget we really want? How can you manage that process through effectively? Or I know all your clients are wonderful, so this is hypothetical and not real world.
I think it's about trying to kind of, especially with influencer gifting, it's so new and it's such an innovative way of working with collaborators at scale, is trying to get the brands and the agencies to drop their guard slightly and become more vulnerable. We've come from a world with influencer gifting that's been so controlled, and allowing brands to actually say, right, here's the product, I want to see how you utilize it into your world, and we want to see how you take our product on that journey. It's just just trying to get you to become more vulnerable and understand that those influencers will create the most wonderful content, but just allow them to just have that flexibility to allow them to do that in the first place. I think it's really important.
And then, John, coming to you on that point as well, is how, I guess, similarly, how do you get brands to fit in with what's the best way of working? Because again, those of us at big companies, we've got a habit sometimes, again, of talking a really good game of, hey, we're flexible, we want to, work in the right way. But actually, to get the job done, you guys quite often have a very different culture. It's why we want to work with companies like yourselves. But how do you really achieve that? What's been some of the successes you've had?
I mean, really, yeah, I think it's like you say, it's like trying to avoid getting too many people in the pot and have a leader on it, really. And like, they need to understand the objectives and the value within the project. What we see a lot of the time is we'll create these immersive experiences that can live across multiple points of media, but then, and you only find out after the campaign, the client was like, oh, I wish that had run on out of home or print as well. And you're like, we could have done this from the start, and we were shouting about it from the start. But because of the disconnect between different points of activation, you miss out on those value points. And so I think it's having someone who's that stakeholder that knows how to connect internally. I mean, what we always do is we have very clear, concise workflows where we kind of explain all the processes, explain all the different things, and have that single point of contact.
And Sergey, how honest you want to be, open forum is entirely up to you, of course, but have there been any projects that you really worked on where it's gone too far, too many cooks, too much collaboration, and actually, if you could have just got a couple of people in a room and sort of, banged heads together, that would have worked well? Have you had any examples of that recently, again, where people talk, come on, everyone, let's all get involved, everyone's views are equal? Any experiences of that, and how did you correct?
Yeah, we actually do end up in situations like this, but just to sort of to bring the general point, there is a really good historical fact that I think really answers your question. So back in the 70s, there was a space race between US and Soviet Union, and there was a problem. How do you write in space? Because there is the usual pens don't work. So US came with this R&D approach where they invested millions of dollars into what later would be called space pen. And Soviets simply used pencil. So it's just the kind of those two different approaches that you might have, because you might have a problem that you can solve really simply. So say with returns, you can simply make customers pay to return, but obviously it's not going to be that sort of convenient for the customer, so you can introduce more sophisticated solutions like a size accommodation. So I think it's always important to bear in mind what the business goal is, what you're trying to achieve, and there is always like this a simplistic approach and simplistic solution that's probably not going to be that popular with the customers, but at the end of the day, it's going to get the job done.
Great, and just getting into the last couple of minutes, so before we open up to the floor to see whether or not all of us as a room agree with the statement or not, just want to quickly go along the line. So we'll start with you, Emma, but just in a couple of sentences, because we've literally got a couple of minutes left.
Okay.
I guess thinking about the statement, your sort of final pitch, do you agree that brands that don't collaborate can't truly innovate? What's your final take on it?
I still agree. I still agree that you do need to collaborate. I think that you need to bring experts together, listen to them, and still have that end result and end goal still in mind to make sure that you're true to form. So it's not like you don't need to collaborate, it just means that you need to manage your project well, and that's about it. But still bring the different experts, because nobody knows everything. That's how we also hire different people in a company. So we hire different people because different people know different things.
Great. Naomi?
Yeah, for me, I stand by my original statement. I think collaboration is massively important, but you need a champion. You need somebody who's got that kind of central oversight. On the innovation side of things, I think there can be a tendency for brands to kind of tippy-toe into stuff and maybe judge an entirely new innovation area on one tiny activation. And I think really to get the most out of the innovation side of it, collaboration takes time. You don't nail it first time round. And I think brands should be committing to, if we're going to innovate, we need to give this a decent run to make it work, and let those kind of collaboration and those communication points really bed in.
Great, thanks. John?
Yeah, no, I mean, I stand by it. I mean, I think the biggest thing is try to avoid hiding behind emails. Too much is lost in email threads. So many times I'll have different points of feedback coming from about 10 different people, all with contradictory feedback for the same thing. And you're like, what do I do here? And the simplest way to solve it all is get everyone's feedback and then get on a call together. Don't like be like, oh, I can't do this there. Just have a 10-minute call to run through it all, get it all aligned, and it's much quicker than back and forth and having this really long thread with all these different colors of feedback. You just get it done.
Yeah. I'm so pleased you're absolutely not describing Eon at all, ever are.
Yeah.
Good. Just good. Sergey.
Yeah, I think it's important to split the innovation and collaboration in two. So I think the real like deep tech research and development innovation comes from the years of research, and the brands have to invest in there. Like companies like Eon probably invest millions of dollars in doing that. So there is probably some innovation there, but collaboration. But I think the real collaboration comes on the sort of business and marketing level, where you can leverage different channels from different companies, and this is where I think the sort of where the magic happens. So on scientific. There is probably not a lot of collaboration there, but on the business and marketing level, I think there is a lot of opportunities for sure.
Great, thank you. Tom?
Yeah, I think personally what we're seeing at Gifter is that the collaborations with micro-influencers at scale are creating the most amazing innovations for the companies as well. We are seeing so much feedback go back to brands and agencies on how can you make products better, and how can they be stronger against your competitors. And all that information we're taking and feeding it straight back to the brand, and they're feeding it straight back to the research and development teams. So we're utilizing influencers as a key focus group and creating an intelligence engine on a set focus group that have access to all of your competitors' brands as well. So I completely agree. I think collaboration is the driver of innovation, and it's really exciting. I think we're just tapping into the power of what we can do.
Right, thank you so much. And just before we do wrap up, so just as a quick show of hands, who agrees with the statement that brands that don't collaborate can't truly innovate? There's no point in asking the other side. It was the majority of people. And then I'm pleased to see there are a few people who are honest enough, as I would be, to go, no, I don't care about anyone else. It's my opinion that matters, which is great. But listen, I think what we've heard is that collaboration's obviously important. It's obviously got a place, but you've got to have someone that really drives it through. You've got to make sure that that's quick and concise, and really that's the recipe, I think, to getting proper innovation, as the guys have mentioned, that gets true results as well. So we can just give a big round of applause, please, for Tom, for Sergey, for John, Naomi, and Emma. Thanks indeed.